The member from Parkdale High Park.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Acting Premier. For nearly 5 years, the City of Toronto has asked the provincial government to help fund its $2.6 billion capital repair program for social housing. The Premier has repeatedly refused. Yesterday, the federal government announced funding for social housing repairs, but only if matched by the province. Will the Premier finally agree to fund the costs of social housing repairs in partnership with the municipal and federal governments, as the NDP has always proposed?
Thank you.
Minister of Housing.
Minister of Housing.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank the member for Parkdale High Park for the question. Indeed, yesterday was National Housing Day, and what a historic day it was. I joined the Prime Minister and Mayor Tory to hear the announcement of the National Housing Strategy, a strategy which Ontario has been working hard on, a strategy where we fought to ensure that the end of agreement funding for our existing stock of social housing would be protected. And it has been, Mr. Speaker. This means our existing stock of social housing will continue to be affordable and stable, that there will be money to reinvest in repairs of it. Earlier this year, we announced $657 million of funding to help repair our existing stock of social housing. Mr. Speaker, we're on top of the housing file, and we welcome having a federal partner that's finally at the table.
Yes,
Thank you. Supplementary. Be seated, please. Be seated, please. Thank you. Supplementary.
Thank you. Again, back to the Acting Premier. Mr. Speaker, hundreds of families are on the verge of losing their homes. Hundreds more will not get those homes on a wait list of 172,000 families in Ontario. They wait an average of 4 years. You know, words won't house them. Only housing will house them, and money. Yesterday, the minister's right, the federal government offered money to help save those homes, but only if this money is matched by the provincial government. The NDP has committed to this. The Premier has repeatedly refused. Now that the federal government has come to the table with money for social housing, will the Premier finally match? And the answer is, will the Premier finally match this funding, yes or no?
Thank you. Be seated, please. Be seated, please. Thank you. Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ontario has been spending over $1 billion a year on our social housing. We have been spending more than the federal government on social housing. That is why we are so excited that we now have a federal government that is a full partner with us and with communities to build up the social housing that we need. We need to build more and to preserve what we have. Mr. Speaker, we invested $200 million in our Homes for Good strategy to provide supportive and transitional housing in communities across this province for vulnerable groups. Mr. Speaker, we have a goal to end chronic homelessness by 2025. The federal housing strategy is now aligning with our long-term.